Welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 hit games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 286. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. So even though the show is probably going to be done in a few months, we actually have a new digger, Grimjack, who's dug up DOSGAMES /board/Robix 11. Something to do with robots, perhaps? That's the only thing I've got here. I got a whole bunch of Robix files, I got a Robix reg file, Solsoft. Oh, that means it's probably going to be slow software, doesn't it? Let's quickly type file_id.dis. So, Robix version 1.1 requires EGA VGA, another logic puzzle game from Slow Software. Yep, the Solsoft kinda gave that away. Objective of this pure strategy game is to get your colored blocks to the bottom of the game board by pushing entire rows either left or right. Huh. I got a funny feeling this is going to play like some other things that we've seen. I guess you can just run it. Usually Slow Software is good about giving you the instructions in the game, so let's see. So we got our typical Slow Software logo, presents, and we're starting off with blocks falling right away. Okay, so we can select either a short game, a medium game, or a long game. I guess go medium. Press any key to decide who goes first. So the computer is blue, the computer gets to move first. Okay. Okay. I see what's going on here. And then the blocks fall, and then they get put back into random spots? So I guess the goal is I'm trying to make moves that will get me points, but not him. Or her, or whatever gender the computer happens to be today. I guess this move would probably be okay. Like, this will get me... Actually, this move would work too. Actually, this move's a lot safer, so let's go with that one. Because I'm going to guess the green blocks don't fall, so... yeah. There we go. Got myself a point. And the computer got themselves a point there. Ooh, I see a move I can make that'll get me 2 points. Right there. Okay, so this game is actually pretty simple when it comes down to it. It clearly would have a 2-player mode if it was registered. Like, that was one of the things Slow Software typically did, was lock off 2-player support into the registered version of their software, and then have it so that it's only player versus computer for the unregistered version. The computer just made a huge number of points with that move there. I think this is my best move. Well, it'll get me 1 point, and it sets up a bunch of other blocks, not necessarily just for me, but... yeah, we'll see how the computer reacts to this. Okay, so the computer's about to get 2 points there. Oh, the computer's about to get 3 points! What the heck? That can actually put the block... 4 points?! It's putting the blocks back in places where the computer's immediately getting points. That's not very nice. Okay, and I just realized too that you don't... the player isn't locked to each side of the board. You can choose which side of the board you want to push from. So that kind of changes things a little. Okay, let's try setting myself up for some big points. So I'm going to push this like that. Because what that's going to do is it's going to put 3 of my pieces right on top of each other, which only need a couple moves to drop off the field. Okay, so next I'm going to do this, which will immediately get me a point, but it also puts me in a situation where a single move will get me 3 points. So the question is the computer going to react to that? I see what the computer's doing. He wants to make sure he gets... I'm saying he again. I'm gendering the computer. The computer wants to make sure that they get their blue point when I decide to push this out of the way. So I think instead what I'm going to do is do a defensive move. Well, the computer just wanted those points anyways, I guess. I mean, gave me a point in the process. I guess the trick, though, is that just from the nature of this, there isn't really a lot of strategy going on. Like, there's a little strategy going on, but you really don't have a lot of control over how things go. And I've noticed that it's skipping over things that I can't push. Apparently, if the blocks reach the edge, you can't push it. You can see how it's skipping over that one gap there. The other thing, too, which makes this notably hard in terms of scoring potentials and everything, is that there's randomness involved. Like, once you score a point, you don't know where your block is going to go back up to. Like, it would almost seem more strategic if the blocks didn't reset back up to the top, because then you would have to make smarter moves about where to be pushing things in order to get those points to occur. Okay, so that was Robix. It's a very basic block pushing game, well, rows of blocks, and it's not bad. Definitely more basic than your typical slow software game, but it works. Next up, we have a failed dig from Zed Supremus, DOSGAMES /adventure /DND base. And this one, even though it failed for a simple reason, there needs to be a bit of an explanation for this. Okay, so there's actually a bit of a sad story to this particular folder. Well, firstly, it's the last folder in the DOSGAMES /adventure directory, so it's like, that was a big one. I mean, it wasn't like there's just 4 or 5 entries. It was more like, actually, we can take a look. There were 86 entries. I know it says 88, but remember that 2 of those are the current working directory and the directory it comes off of, parent directory. I know I'd remember the term sooner or later. So, yeah. So, first of all, there's that going for it. The fact that it's the last one out of that huge directory there. But the other thing, too, is that this has actually been in the queue for a very long time now, because it's had numerous other dig team members select it and then end up going into past digger status. And so it's basically been like this constantly shifting who's going to be digging this up. And this is like the first time that it was going to line up perfectly, but now there's only one person on the dig team who still has it as a selection. Oh well. So anyways, so I'm not quite sure what we're going to end up with here, but it sounds like it's mostly just going to be a database of some kind. So let's see. Oh, well, that's not a good way to start. Like, one thing I've noticed is that it's altered the text cursor. You can see it's actually showing up in the middle of the lines right now, which is weird. So it definitely tried to do something, and these files aren't binary, so I'm not going to be able to read them. Yeah, I don't think this is going to do anything. Yeah, so the last directory in the adventure game directory that so many people wanted to dig up and then went away or whatever happens to be a failed dig. Well, there you go. So, as such, Zed Supremus' successful dig for today will be WINGAMES /arcade /AFORCE. Okay, so this particular game, which is arcade folder and AFORCE. So, I actually know what this game is, because if we take a look here, in my games here, I actually already have it installed. See, way back when I was doing my Ancient DOS Games filler video on Windows 3.1 games, this game almost made the cut. I forget why I didn't include it, but I almost did. So I have actually played this game multiple times before. And yeah, this should be the same game. What's the file ID? Yeah, Alien Force, simple blast everything game for Windows 3.0. Well, maybe that's why I didn't make the cut. Maybe I actually ran into technical issues. Ugh. Well, we'll find out. We'll take a look at the README and stuff, though. So, Alien Force, a simple blast everything that moves game for Windows 3.0, inspired by Fond. albeit vague, memories of an old TRS-80 game called Attack Force, which I found very addictive. Tried to capture at least some of the essence of that game here. So yeah, this is a very simple game, apparently made by Robert Epps. So I guess we'll just go run it. And don't even have to run it from there, you can just run it from here. And the funny thing about this game though is that even though it's using bitmapped graphics, it does actually maximize. Like, it aliases the heck out of everything, but it does work, so you might as well. We'll start at level 1. Got a little about screen. So, new game. And the way this works is the enemies won't start moving until I start moving. So, there we go. And yeah, it's actually supposed to move this slow. So the idea is that you're just basically trying to take out the enemies. The trick, though, is that you can only have one shot in the air at a time. So you have to kind of plan your shots carefully. And the enemies can shoot back too. I don't know if they do in the first level. Don't think they start shooting back until the second level. I could be mistaken. I think maybe that's why I didn't include it in that filler video a long time ago, is just the fact that it's playing kind of slow. I think at the time I remembered it playing faster than this, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think it really did play this slow, like back on period correct hardware. Because I was playing this way back, like this was one of the first games I had before I even had the CD. Like we had this on our Windows 3.1 system, our old 66 megahertz system, which we eventually upgraded to a Pentium 120. So the enemies still aren't shooting. I'm pretty sure they have the ability to shoot back. I guess not yet. And I guess I should note with the controls that I'm not actually holding the buttons down. So the way it works is it's kind of like Pac-Man. You anticipate a corner by pushing the direction you want to turn, and then you'll turn when you hit that corner. It's just the levels are just basically a massive set of crossroads. Okay, there we go. Level 3. So now are they going to start shooting at me? Yes, there we go. I knew they were going to start shooting sooner or later. Because yeah, the game would be very boring if it was just shooting at the enemies without them being able to fire back. Actually, the enemies didn't take any shots there or there. Well, that's kind of weird. Maybe there's like some kind of timer going in the background that determines how often the enemies can shoot. Because I would have thought the enemies would have shot in those cases. But yeah, the enemy didn't fire there either. Huh. I wonder if maybe it glitched out or something. Okay, I'm up to level 5. I'm still haven't... Yeah, the enemies aren't shooting anymore. Okay, there goes a shot. I was about to say... Oh, there goes another one. Okay, maybe what's going on is that only specific enemies can shoot. And that as you get into higher levels, the number of enemies that can shoot increases. That might be how it's being done. So I'm not entirely certain if I had the registered version of this or not as a kid. Because again, this was one of those games that we actually had on our Windows 3.1 system that I didn't put there. So I seriously doubt Mom would have bought Shareware for the computer. So it's more than likely that someone she knew put it on there, like the person who was putting the system together for her initially. Ooh, just barely dodged that bullet. So that was Alien Force. It's a very basic game when it comes down to it. And I'm not entirely certain why I played it so much as a kid. Probably just the fact... Whoop, there I go. One life left. But yeah, probably just down to the fact that it was still Windows 3.1, like the early days of Windows 3.1, and it's kind of just interesting seeing stuff play in this manner, right? Because that was the thing, really, when it came to Windows 3.1 as a kid, is that you just used it. You did whatever you could with it because it was just fun to mess around with things, like changing the desktop wallpaper and stuff. Like, you just did stuff with it. It didn't matter, like, how good it was. But objectively speaking, this is a very simple game that, yeah, probably wouldn't hold your attention for too long. But, yeah, like a lot of stuff, it's serviceable. And our last dig for today from Very Softwares is DOSGAMES /Arcade2 /IQCHLNG something. I'm gonna guess it probably stands for IQ Challenge. Because, you know, IQ Challenge kind of sounds like that. So it's probably going to be some kind of trivia program or something. We do have a file id.diz, so we'll type that out quickly. File id.diz. IQ Challenge version 1.3. Game of Knowledge, DOS 2.1, 512K RAM, 1 to 4 players, test their skill in 5 categories. Earn high points, print achievement certificates, age 10 to adult. Okay then, got a bunch of doc files there. Let's try doing the IQ, actually they put it into an executable there. Okay, we'll try that then, IQ1 doc. Okay, so IQ Challenge Part 1, copyright 1991, Rosemary K. West, all rights reserved. Overview, IQ Challenge is a game that tests your knowledge as you compete against yourself or other players in 5 categories. Your choice of beginner, intermediate, or expert level determines the speed at which you must play. Okay, that's good to know. And the points you can earn. Each player earns an honorary degree based on points earned and a chance for fame on the high scores list. Yeah, honorary degree. Not going to be good for literally anything. And also I like how the suggested age range is 10 to 120. That means if you happen to live to 121, you're too old for this game. Okay, and we can see the topics here. They're going to be literature, science and computers, history, geography, sports, and entertainment. Now the question is, are they going to be multiple choice, or do we have to actually type in the answer? Okay, so some of them are going to be like true or false. So there's an example there. Oh, there's actually multiple kinds of questions here. So multiple choice, scrambled word, true, false, fill in the blank. Fill in the blank is going to be the kind I suck at, but... And it looks like the registration fee for this one is $15. And if you want 3.5-inch discs as opposed to 5.25-inch discs, you need to add $1. Or at least that's what I'm assuming? Maybe you don't actually get discs? Well, no, you'd have to, because apparently you get a challenge part 2 with it. So, I don't know. Okay, so let's actually run this thing. So, IQ1. So, IQ Challenge Part 1. How many players? Just me. And type in my name. And 30, 20, or 15 seconds. Let's go intermediate. Let's play dangerously. Now, I am going to suck at many of these topics. Except maybe this one. So here we go. He's known for developing the theory of relativity. And is... Wait, how... I know who, but... Okay, that actually accepted that. I was about... Because I was worried for a second, does he want me to type in the full name? Does it just want the last name? But it accepted... Like, it says here Albert Einstein was the person... But it accepted Einstein as the answer. So there's clearly some kind of logic as to determining what the correct answer could or couldn't be. I was mostly just worried I was going to misspell it or something. Enter to continue with topic. First artificial satellites were launched in... I don't think it was 35. I want to say 57. Yeah. It was a different ditty there, so I almost thought I got it wrong or something. Scrambled word clue. The use of radio waves to detect position and speed of objects. That's radar. Something bursts into flame because of accumulated heat. That would be spontaneous combustion. Scrambled word clue. Particles of water suspended in the air. That would be a cloud. Okay, so far these questions aren't too tricky, but there's been like one or two. Which of these is not a computer language? It's either Max or Prolog, because C definitely is one. I'm gonna guess Max. Yeah, because Prolog sounded like it probably was going to be a language. A material that carries the flow of electricity. That would be a conductor. True or false? Ozone is a form of oxygen. That is actually true. Because ozone is, specifically it's the triatomic version of oxygen. Because O2 is what we normally consider to be diatomic oxygen, and then ozone is triatomic. It's got 3 oxygens. That's what it is. Shimmering hot air looks like water in the desert. Uh-oh. I think we actually hit one that I don't know the answer to. Mirage? That's what a mirage... I thought a mirage was caused by, like, almost like heat, like, interfering with the brain's ability to function. I didn't think it was specifically that? Huh. Another name for the centigrade temperature scale, that would be Celsius, which I'm never too certain how to spell, but apparently I got it right there. Oh, did I just answer all of the topics and all of the questions in science and computing without, like, any issues? If I go to... How do I hit my score here? Shift S, Control S, Alt S? Alt S. Yeah, I just aced the science and computing category. I wasn't intending to, but... Okay, so it looks like there's 10 questions in each category. Are they the same questions? Yeah, it's because if I try to go here, it says it's completed. Okay, so let's just pick a topic that I'm absolutely going to be terrible at. So let's just get this one wrong. So just type in whatever, and okay, so that's what happens if you get a question wrong. Wanted to figure that out at least. So yeah, that was IQCHLNG. Actually, not a bad trivia program. I suspect it'd probably be more fun with multiple players, especially given the fact that there aren't a lot of questions. Like, I mean, I guess what we can do is we can exit the program. So that would be Alt-X, Endgame. And then we go play again. How many players? And let's just see if it's the exact same... Oh, I am so good at breaking things. Well, I think we just crashed the program. Okay, then, let's go back into it. One player, pick me, intermediate. Okay, let's see if they're the same questions. Okay, they're not the same questions. Okay, so there are more than 10 questions for each category. So that's good to know then. So yeah, that was IQCHLNG. Decent trivia game. I'm not entirely certain how the two-player mode works. Okay, now I'm gonna have to test that even. Exit to DOS. Go back in. So let's say what happens when we put in two players. So me and not me. And then, so it's asking me to pick a topic. Now if I pick a topic and just put in whatever, I'm not even looking at the question. Okay, so it flips back and forth between each player. So you're not trying to compete on the same question, right? No, you're not trying to compete on the same question. So that makes it a little interesting, but kind of unfair. Like, that's one of the things with a trivia game is usually you want the questions to be the same for each person so that you're not really favoring one person over the other by accident in terms of random chance. I don't know. Like, it's okay. It's an okay trivia game for what it is. And let's consider the fact that they were only charging $15 for this thing. So, you know, for a $15 trivia program, it does the job.